HOA Karen stole my mail. So I turned my mailbox into a trap. She thought my front yard was her playground. My mailbox, her property. My privacy, her entertainment. I warned her twice. She laughed once. And the third time, she reached inside again. The whole neighborhood froze. No one moved. No one spoke. Because this time, she didn't just take my mail. She pulled a wire. And everything changed. Welcome to HOA Stories, where HOA drama meets real-life karma. I'm just a regular guy, living in a quiet American suburb, trying to survive rules written by people who hate happiness. If you've ever dealt with an HOA, type BOOO in the comments. Let them hear you too. And if you love watching HOA power trips backfire, hit subscribe. And share this with a friend who hates rules even more than you do. Let me tell you what really happened. I didn't want a war. I just wanted my mail. Bills. Bank letters. A card from my sister. Basic stuff. But in my neighborhood, nothing is basic. The moment I moved into Maple Creek Estates, I knew something was off. The lawns were too perfect. The smiles were too tight. And everyone whispered about the HOA president like she was the governor of a small angry country. Her name, Karen, of course. Blonde hair, perfect teeth, perfect smile, and zero soul. She always walked with a clipboard, like she was born holding it. Day one, she knocked on my door. She didn't ring the bell. She knocked like the police. Hard, fast, aggressive. I opened. She didn't say hello. She didn't say welcome. She just looked over my shoulder, into my house, like she was inspecting a crime scene. Then she gave me a paper. Rules. About grass height, mailbox design, parking, trash days, even how often I could wash my car. She smiled, but her eyes didn't. I laughed it off. I thought, it's just HOA stuff. Whatever. I was wrong. What I didn't know, she already had her eyes on my mailbox. Because mine was different. Most people had boring silver boxes. Or small white ones. Mine was black. Heavy steel. Old school. Strong. I bought it because it looked cool. She didn't like cool. 2 days later, my Amazon package disappeared. Then my bank letter. Then my insurance documents. At first, I blamed the courier, then the post office, then my memory, until one morning, I decided to park my car across the street and watch, just watch, like a crazy person, sipping coffee, pretending to check emails. She came out at 9:13 a.m., same time as always, same fake smile, same walk. She didn't check her mailbox. She checked mine. She opened it like she owned it, like it belonged to her, like I didn't exist. She pulled something out, put it in her bag, and walked away. No fear, no shame, just confidence. I felt my chest go hot. My hands started shaking, not because I was scared, but because I was angry. I walked toward her. She turned around and smiled, that same HOA smile. Oh, hi neighbor. Just helping organize the street deliveries. Organize. That's what she called stealing. I told her calmly, please don't touch my mailbox again. She laughed. Actually laughed. She said, in this community, the HOA oversees all communal safety. She called my mailbox a safety matter. I told her it's federal property. She said, so is my authority. That's when I realized. This wasn't about mail. This was about power. And power was her drug. The next day, I installed a tiny camera inside my front window. Not illegal, just protection. And 3 days later, I caught her again. Same time, same move, same arrogance, different bag. This time, I walked out faster. She froze. Her smile cracked for half a second, then came back. I asked her, why do you keep doing this? She stepped closer and whispered, "Because you didn't ask permission before installing that mailbox." I laughed. I actually laughed out loud. Permission to install a mailbox on my own house. That's when I knew she wasn't going to stop. She wanted control over every inch, and my mailbox was her new battlefield. That night, I sat on my porch, looking at that black metal box, wind hitting it, soft, calm, and I thought, what if, just what if, she learned the same way she taught, through pain, through shock, through consequences, not violence, not threat, just a lesson, a legal one, a clean one, a perfect one. I opened my laptop, started researching local laws, postal laws, property laws, and something interesting came up, something legal, something painful, something unforgettable. And when I read it, I smiled for the first time in days. I looked back at my mailbox and whispered, "Okay, Karen, your turn to learn. Tell me something in the comments. Have you ever had someone touch your property like they owned it? And what would you have done in my place?" I didn't sleep that night, not because I was scared, but because my brain wouldn't shut up. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her hand inside my mailbox, like she had a deed to my front yard. I kept replaying that moment, her fake smile, her whisper, her confidence. That wasn't confidence. That was ownership. And the fact she thought she owned me made my stomach twist. At 6:11 a.m., I was already up, coffee in one hand, phone in the other. Still dark outside, but her house already had lights on. HOA people never sleep. They recharge. I sat on my couch and kept scrolling. Federal laws, mail tampering laws, privacy rights, security device laws. And that's when I found it. Something beautiful, something legal, something cold. It said, if a homeowner places a warning sign, clearly marked, and someone ignores it, they assume responsibility for whatever happens. I read it twice, then 3 times. I didn't want revenge. I wanted justice. And justice, according to the law, can be very creative. By 8:20, the sun was up, birds were loud, and she came out again. Same walk, same clipboard, same attitude. She didn't even check her own mail. Straight to mine. This time, I didn't step out. I just watched. From behind my living room curtain. She opened it. Slow. Careless. Then she paused. She looked around. Like she felt something. And I swear, for 1 second, her smile vanished. Not because she felt bad. Because she felt watched. But she still did it. She pulled out 2 letters, slid them into her bag, and walked like a queen. After stealing a village. That was it. I didn't yell. I didn't curse. I didn't confront. I just watched her back disappear, and whispered one thing. Okay. Now it's official. This is personal. I drove to a hardware store, across town. Not my local one, because she had spies everywhere. You'd be surprised how many people report to the HOA, like unpaid secret agents. I walked through the aisles, calm, focused, quiet. I picked up things an electrician would recognize, but nobody would question. Wire, a small transformer, a battery kit, insulated gloves, a warning sticker template, all legal, all normal, all unthreatening, because it wasn't about hurting her. It was about teaching her boundaries, in a language she understood. Back home, I laid it all on the table, like a plan, like a puzzle, like a message waiting to be built. I didn't rush. I didn't panic. I followed every instruction I found online, every rule, every safety detail. Slow, safe, precise. While outside, Kids rode bikes. Lawn mowers hummed. And the neighborhood looked perfect. That's the funniest part. Everything looks perfect. Right before a storm. Around noon. Someone knocked. Not the police. Not her. It was Mark. The guy across the street. He leaned on my porch rail. With that look. Like he had just seen a ghost. He looked around first. Then whispered, "Bro, you know she's taking your mail, right?" I just smiled. I told him, "Yeah, I know." His face tightened. He told me, "She's been doing that to others too. Especially people who don't attend HOA meetings. People who don't clap when she speaks. People who don't bow." I asked him, "Why doesn't anyone stop her?" He laughed. "Because it's Karen. She'll fine you. She'll threaten you. She'll make your life paperwork hell." Paperwork hell. Imagine living in fear of printed paper. I thanked him. He walked away, shaking his head. He didn't know. I wasn't scared of fines, or letters, or rules. I was tired of being controlled by a lady with a clipboard. So I kept building. Slow, careful, quiet. I installed a brand new warning sign. Bright yellow. Big letters. Not touch. Property of homeowner. Do not open without permission. I placed it right below the mailbox. Impossible to miss. Impossible to ignore. Even a blind person would feel the word. At 5:47 p.m. she came again. Different outfit. Same energy. She stopped. She saw the sign. She read it. I know she did, because her lips moved. But then she smiled. Like a villain in a low-budget movie. She looked at my house and spoke out loud, like she wanted me to hear through the walls. "Oh, that's cute." Then she touched it. Not to open, just to test. Like a child touching hot water after being warned. And in that moment, my whole body went still. Not excited, not scared, just focused, because that touch was a decision. Not by me, but by her. She turned and walked away again, like always. But now, she had crossed something. Not my line. A legal line. A warning. A boundary. A choice. And if she came again, after reading that sign, then whatever happened next was on her, not me. I stood by the window, watching the wind move the trees, watching my mailbox, sitting there, silent, calm, like it didn't know what it was about to become. A box, a message, a line in the sand. And I asked myself, would she really stop, just because of a sign? Or was I about to see how far her ego would push her? Tell me honestly, if someone kept stealing your mail after you warned them, would you report them, or make them touch that mailbox one more time? Write your answer in the comments. The next morning, I didn't rush outside. I didn't check my phone either. I just sat there, staring out the window, watching that mailbox, like it was a ticking clock. Because I knew something. Karen didn't forget. Karen didn't forgive. Karen didn't respect signs. She challenged them. She treated rules like they were for other people. And that yellow sign, that clear warning, it wasn't going to stop her. It was going to offend her. Around 9 a.m., the neighborhood came alive. Garage doors opened. Dogs barked. Sprinklers clicked. Everything looked normal. That's the scary part. When things feel normal, that's when chaos is closest. I was tightening the last screws. Inside the box. Not rushing. Not shaking. Just calm. Focused. Like doing a math problem. Every connection was safe. Every part was controlled. Every step was legal. I didn't want to hurt her. I wanted her to remember. Sometimes, a lesson doesn't need pain. Just shock. A jolt to wake you up. Around 9:22, I saw movement. Her white SUV rolled slowly, like she was patrolling. She didn't even park in front of my house. She stopped right beside it. Like a queen's carriage. She stepped out. Slow. Confident. Sunglasses on. Clipboard tucked under her arm. Not even pretending anymore. She walked straight to it. Didn't look at the sign this time. She already read it. Yesterday. She just ignored it. But I noticed something. She looked around. Not for witnesses. But for approval. Like she expected someone to clap. Nobody did. Just birds. And wind. And silence. I held my breath. She reached out. Not with fear. Not with doubt. Like a teacher. Grabbing chalk. Her fingers brushed the metal. Just for a second. And then she pulled back. Fast. Not because of shock. But because it was warmer than expected. Her face changed. And I saw something new. Not anger. Not arrogance. Suspicion. Her eyes narrowed. Her jaw tightened. She bent closer. Examining the box. Like she was trying to break a code. You could see it. In her mind. She thought. He thinks he's smarter than me. She hated that thought. More than the sign. More than the rule. More than the warning. I knew now. This wasn't about mail. This was about ego. An ego is dangerous. She glanced at my house. Looked directly at my window. And even though I had the curtain half closed, I knew. She knew. Not fully. But enough. She stepped back. Turned around slowly. And did something I didn't expect. She didn't open it. She just smirked. And walked back to her car. I felt my stomach drop. Not because I failed. But because I knew. This just got bigger. Later that day. Around 4:15. I was watering my lawn. Doing the regular homeowner thing. When someone called out. Hey man. It was Mark again. Walking his dog. But his voice was different. Quieter. Like he didn't want to be recorded. By invisible HOA microphones. He asked. If I had a minute. I told him. What's up? He looked around. Then pointed his chin. Toward Karen's house. He said. She's mad. Real mad. Not loud. Not shouting. Quiet angry. The dangerous kind. He told me. She went door to door. Telling people. I was installing illegal devices. That I was endangering the street. That I was unstable. Unstable. Because I wanted my own mail. I laughed. But inside. I felt something solid. Like steel. She was trying to flip the story. Make me look crazy. Before she touched that box. Before she did something stupid. Classic move. Control the narrative. Then control the damage. Mark looked worried. He said. She's planning to report you. File something. Call the HOA emergency meeting. Emergency. Over a mailbox. I told him. Let them call it. Let them worry. Let them knock. I'm not hiding. He looked surprised. Then smiled a little. He said. I wish I had your guts. I told him. You do. You just forgot where you left them. That night. I didn't take the box apart. I didn't touch it. I just let it sit. Under the porch light. Bright. Clear. Waiting. Like a challenge. Because I wasn't scared. Not of her. Not of fines. Not of meetings. Because if she wanted war, she was going to have to start it herself. I wasn't going to drag her. She had to step into it. Her choice. Her hands. Her decision. And every time I replayed her face. That moment she touched the metal. And pulled back. I smiled. Not because she felt it. But because she realized something. This isn't your neighborhood anymore. This isn't your toy. This isn't yours to touch. And the part that stayed in my mind wasn't her hand. It was her eyes. Because for the first time, I didn't see confidence. I saw calculation. And when Karen starts calculating, that's when you know. She's about to do something she's never done before. Something public. Something bold. Something, she thinks, will destroy you. And I stood there, looking at that mailbox, under the night light, and whispered to myself, "Go ahead, Karen. Show me what you've got." But deep down, I knew her next move wouldn't be quiet. It would be loud, messy, and impossible to ignore. And the scary part, she wasn't alone anymore. Tell me the truth. If your HOA tried to turn your neighbors against you, would you stay calm, or would you go to war with them? Write it below. I thought after what happened at the pool, things would cool down. I thought Karen would stay in her lane. Stay quiet. Stay embarrassed. But HOA Karens don't retreat. They reload. It was a Thursday afternoon when everything lit up again. My phone started vibrating non-stop while I was at work. Not calls. Notifications. Message after message. Tags. Mentions. Comments. At first, I ignored it. But then one message hit different. "Bro, why are people posting your house all over Facebook?" My stomach dropped. I opened the local neighborhood group. And there it was. A post from Karen. Pinned. Boosted. And filled with lies. A smiling selfie of her standing in front of my driveway, with my home address clearly visible in the background. Her caption, "Warning, warning to all neighbors, warning. This resident has been harassing HOA members and threatening our pool staff. He believes rules don't apply to him. Please be careful around this man. HOA will take legal action soon." Below it, hundreds of comments. People I didn't even know. Judging me. Insulting me. Calling me violent, unstable, dangerous. Karen didn't just lie. She tried to destroy me. I could feel the heat behind my eyes. Blood pressure rising. Jaw tightening. Not because of the insults, but because my wife also lived here. She was pregnant. And now strangers had our address. I left work immediately. When I pulled into the neighborhood, I knew something was wrong. There was a car parked across from my house. Then another one. And then a guy standing on the sidewalk, pretending to check his phone, but watching my front door. Karen didn't just defame me. She sent attention my way. Unwanted attention. Dangerous attention. Inside the house, my wife was sitting quietly on the couch, her hands resting on her belly. TV muted. Face pale. "People have been driving by for an hour," she whispered. One guy even rang the doorbell. I didn't answer. My heart cracked in half. She wasn't scared because of Karen. She was scared because of what Karen had caused. I hugged her gently. And in that moment, something inside me snapped. Not anger. Resolution. This wasn't about pride anymore. This was about protection. I reopened that Facebook post and started documenting everything. Screenshots, timestamps, usernames, comments, the fake story, the pinned status. Then I noticed something crucial. Karen had made a mistake. She didn't just accuse me. She claimed, "HOA will take legal action." But she didn't tag the HOA page. Instead, she tagged her personal page. Meaning, she spoke without authorization, on her own, without approval. And that changed everything. I commented once, and only once. Precise. Controlled. "This post is false. My family feels unsafe due to targeted harassment and sharing of our private address. Copies of this post and its engagement have been saved. Legal action is now being considered." I didn't argue. Didn't insult, didn't fight, because the battlefield wasn't Facebook. It was real life. That evening, there was a knock on my door. Not a stranger. Not Karen. 2 members of the neighborhood board. Different ones. Quiet. Nervous. They had their folders. No clipboards this time. "Sir, we need to speak with you about something." I stepped outside. They didn't even look comfortable. Turns out, Karen's post had exploded. Not just in the neighborhood group, but in the HOA internal email chain. She never had permission to speak on behalf of the HOA. She never had a complaint filed. She had acted alone, emotionally, and irresponsibly, the exact opposite of how a board member should act. Then they said something I never expected. We've received several complaints, not about you, but about her. I raised my eyebrow. One resident who supports you shared your old pool incident video. Another posted security footage from her mailbox stealing incident. And now people are realizing her pattern. Karen didn't just try to cancel me. She exposed herself. The board members warned me. Her post violated HOA conduct policy. She spread unverified accusations. She shared private property information. And worst of all, she created safety risks. They were calling an emergency board review. Her position was now on the line. That night, I opened my curtains just a little. The street looked quiet again. No cars, no lurkers, no strangers. But inside, I knew the storm wasn't over yet. Because Karen, people like her, they don't go down easy. They fight dirtiest when they know they're about to lose control. And in part 5, she was coming back, not as a board member, but as someone desperate to save her reputation. And desperate people always reveal their worst side. Karen didn't just try to embarrass me, she tried to make my family a target. But her biggest mistake, she forgot the internet never forgets. The fine came next morning, slipped under my door, like a threat. Not even in an envelope, just a bright orange violation notice. I looked down at it, still half asleep, bare feet on cold tile. Coffee not even poured yet. Unauthorized surveillance. Harassment of board members. Community disruption. 3 charges. 1 paper. $3,200. I laughed at first. Not a normal laugh. Slow. Tired. Crazy laugh. Because I knew. This wasn't about rules anymore. This was about ego. Her ego. Karen couldn't handle someone not bending. She needed me to break. But I didn't. I folded the notice slowly, placed it on my table, and looked at my wife. She didn't smile this time. Didn't even talk. Her hand just moved to her stomach and held it, like she was protecting something from the world. That's when I felt it. Not anger, not stress, just responsibility. I wasn't fighting HOA anymore. I was fighting for my home, for my family, for my child not even born yet. At noon, I drove to the HOA office. Same beige building, same ugly fake plants, same fake smiles. And there she was, Karen, sitting behind the front desk, like she owned the air. Her nails freshly done, her hair perfectly curled, her lips tight with victory. She already thought she won. "You got the fine," she said, without even looking up. Like she was bored of me, I placed the paper on her desk. Slow, flat. I read it. I replied. "Good." She smiled. "Payment is due in 7 days." Her smile was different this time. It wasn't fake. It was hungry, like someone who finally thinks they trapped their prey. I leaned closer. "You're abusing power," I said calmly. "This is personal." Her eyes lifted now. Cold, sharp, proud. "This is HOA policy," she replied. "You break rules. You pay consequences." Her words were calm, but her fingers were tight, gripping her pen. I saw it. She wasn't calm. She was scared, but trying to look powerful. I stepped back and smiled gently. "You should have just left me alone." She didn't like that. Her smile dropped, just for a second, but I saw it. That evening, things got worse, way worse. A letter came from a lawyer, not mine, the HOA's, accusing me of harassing board members, creating unsafe environment, spreading false narratives, threatening the peace of community. I stood there, reading it twice, then 3 times. My chest felt tight now, because this wasn't just neighborhood drama anymore. This was legal, cold, paper-based, emotionless war. My wife looked at me from the couch, her eyes tired, her face pale, hand still resting on her belly. "What are we going to do?" she whispered, and I didn't have an answer. Not yet. But that night, something strange happened. Around 1:40 a.m., my phone vibrated. A message from an unknown number. I stared at it for a long second. Before opening it, it said, "You're not the only one she did this to." My heart slowed. I typed back, "Who is this?" 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then typed again, and again, before a final message came. "They ruined my life too, and I've been waiting for someone like you." I sat up in bed instantly. My wife stirred. "What is it?" she asked softly. I didn't respond, because my eyes were locked on the next message. A picture of Karen, in court, from 2 years ago, and under it, one line, "She doesn't know I kept the evidence." For the first time in days, I didn't feel alone. I didn't feel small. I didn't feel trapped. Someone out there had survived her already, and they weren't just warning me. They were offering backup. I locked my phone screen and stared at the ceiling, because if Karen thought she was winning, she had no idea what was about to wake up. If someone destroyed your life using power and lies, and you finally got a chance to fight back, would you expose them publicly, or quietly destroy their system from inside? Type expose or destroy in the comments, backhand index pointing down. I didn't reply to the message right away. My fingers just hovered over the screen, because something about it felt heavy, not dangerous, but powerful. Someone else had already gone through what I was walking into now. Someone already survived her, and wasn't afraid anymore. That scared me, but it also gave me a strange calm. The next morning, I stepped outside early. The air felt thick, like the neighborhood itself was holding its breath. Grass trimmed perfectly, sprinklers ticking, birds pretending nothing was wrong. But everything was. My phone buzzed again. Same number. No name. Just another message. "Meet me at Redwood Park. 10:30 a.m. Bring only your phone." I stared at the screen. Redwood Park was 5 minutes from here. Quiet. Empty on weekdays. Mostly old people and joggers. A perfect place for either truth or a trap. I didn't tell my wife. She already had enough fear in her eyes. I just said I had to run an errand. She didn't ask more. She just watched me, like she was memorizing my face. And that hurt more than any fine or threat Karen ever gave. Redwood Park was silent. Too silent. The swings were moving, but no kids. The benches were empty, but still warm from the sun. I stood near the old oak tree, like the message said, waiting. Then I saw her, an older woman, maybe mid-50s, wearing a faded blue jacket and sunglasses. She didn't smile when she came close. She just looked at me, like she had already seen this story before. "You came," she said quietly, her voice tired, but steady. "You knew my name back then too," she added. I blinked. "What?" She stepped a little closer. "She used this park to humiliate me too." My chest tightened. She pointed at a bench. "Sit." I didn't know her name yet, but I already knew her pain. "She ruined my life," she said slowly, looking straight ahead. "Not just socially, legally, financially. She made me look like a criminal for reporting her corruption." I swallowed. What was it? I asked. She let out a slow breath. She registered fake fines in my name, then turned the board against me. Anyone who questioned her, she destroyed. My jaw tightened. Why hasn't anyone stopped her? She gave a sad smile. Because Karen doesn't make noise. She makes trails. She doesn't scream. She writes paperwork. And that line hit me hard, because that's exactly what she was doing to me. Then she opened her bag, pulled out a folder, thick, heavy, years old. Inside, court papers, emails, voice recordings, HOA internal notes, screenshots, internal rule modifications, fake violation templates. My hands shook, just looking at it. This, she whispered, this made me lose everything. Apartment, job, reputation. But I kept it. She smiled softly. For the day, someone deserved justice. And now, she picked you. I swallowed again. Why me? The woman looked at me. Because you didn't bend. Most people do. You didn't. And she hates that. She paused. She hates men who don't crumble in front of her authority. I sat there silently, absorbing every word, every paper, every proof, every scar of her life. Then she leaned closer. Listen, she whispered. Karen is planning a board meeting, a closed one, next Friday, and she is going to try to make an example out of you. My fists tightened. How do you know? She tapped the folder. Her assistant was my niece. The air felt different now. Not just heavy, loaded. She will try to legally force you to sell your house. She continued. Pressure. HOA codes. Fake safety complaints. She's done it before. My heart stopped. She what? She forced 3 families to leave. Using paperwork, not violence. I stood up slowly. My whole body felt hot now. Not angry. Focused. This wasn't just war with Karen anymore. This was stopping her. For good. But then, my phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't unknown. It was HOA group chat. A public post. Karen had uploaded something. Notice to residents. Accusing me of endangering the community, manipulation, violating codes, legal non-compliance, creating unsafe tension, behavioral disturbance, and under it, over 300 comments, half against me, half silent, and her last line, emergency board hearing scheduled. Attendance mandatory. The woman looked at my screen and whispered, she's rushing. She smells fear. Don't give her that. I locked my phone, stared ahead, and finally spoke. How do we finish this? Her eyes met mine. Cold, calm, experienced. We don't fight her with noise. We fight her with her own method. She paused. She worships rules. So we bury her in them. And for the first time, I didn't feel like a target. I felt like a plan. If someone abuses power through legal tricks, do you believe justice should be loud? Or should it be slow and silent, like their own game? Type loud or silent below, backhand index pointing down. I want to see how you would fight. The day of the hearing came, not like a storm, not like thunder, but slow, quiet, heavy, like the air itself. Didn't want to move. The entire neighborhood felt different. No lawnmowers, no kids outside, no music, just silence. The kind of silence that only happens before something breaks. I stood in front of the bathroom mirror, straightening my collar, not because I was scared, but because I wanted to look undeniable. My wife stood behind me, her hands resting on her belly, her breathing slow, but her eyes strong. "You don't have to win today," she said softly. "You just have to survive." I turned to her, placed my hand over hers, and felt a small kick, a reminder of who I was really fighting for. The HOA hall was packed, too packed. Residents, board members, security, even 2 local reporters, standing quietly in the back. And there she was, Karen, sitting at the center table, like a queen, in a cheap plastic throne. But something was different. Her smile wasn't real today. Her fingers kept tapping on the edge of her paper. Fast, nervous, almost shaking. She felt it. She felt the shift. The board president cleared his throat. "We are here to address the case of resident misconduct and ongoing disruption caused by Mr. My name," said like a problem. Karen looked at me, smirked slightly, like she still believed she owned the ending. She stood up first, her voice confident, but too rehearsed. She spoke about rules, order, community safety. She talked about me, like I wasn't even human, just a threat to her perfect picture. Then she raised a stack of papers. My fake violations, my fake warnings, my fake fines. "His presence has caused fear," she said, "and I request this board force him to comply, or vacate community property." A few gasps echoed from the audience. She liked that. She fed on it. Then they called my name. My turn. I didn't rush. I stood slowly, felt every eye on me, every neighbor, every whisper, every judgment, and I didn't speak right away. I just looked at Karen, calm, Phil, like someone who already knew the ending. Then I spoke, soft at first, but clear. I followed every rule, every line, every command. But some people don't want compliance. They want control. Silence fell. Even Karen's face tightened. Then I placed the folder on the board table. The folder, her past, the same one the woman from the park gave me, the one Karen never expected to see again. Court transcripts, fake violations, internal emails, bribery logs, audio files, screenshots, document tampering. I started placing them, one by one, slow, so everyone could see. "This," I said, holding up a document, "is proof she edited violation records. This, another paper, shows she falsely charged residents and pocketed fees through an HOA subaccount. And this, a printed email, is her threat to a single mother 2 years ago for questioning her authority." Gasps filled the room. Louder now, angrier. Karen stood up suddenly. "Those are lies," she snapped, her voice cracking. I looked at her, then turned to the board. "They're not lies. They're certified legal copies. And I'm not the first." My voice got stronger. "I'm just the one who didn't break." The board members started flipping through the proof. One of them removed his glasses. Another leaned back. Their faces changed. Not confused, ashamed. But then, the woman from the park entered. Slow, silent. Everyone turned. She walked beside me, placed her hand on the table, and spoke. Her voice calm, but heavy. "She did this to me too. She stole everything, and she was going to do it again." The entire room froze. Even Karen, her face now pale, her mouth dry. No smirk, no smile, no power, just fear. A board member stood. "We will pause this hearing." He looked at Karen. Immediately, he turned to the security. "Escort her out." And for the first time, Karen looked small. Not queen, not authority, not untouchable. Just a woman, trapped by her own system. She tried to speak, But her words didn't land. The room had already decided. People whispered, stood up. Some clapped. Some cried. Not for me. For themselves. Later that evening, the board released a statement. Karen was suspended. An investigation started. Federal level. Every victim contacted. Every case reopened. But the best part wasn't that. Not the revenge. Not the justice. It was the quiet. That came after. The next morning, I walked outside. Sunlight soft. Wind gentle. Kids laughing again. The neighborhood breathed. Like a place. Coming back to life. My wife sat on the porch. Smiling for the first time. In weeks. She held my hand. Our baby kicked again. Stronger. You won. She whispered. I shook my head. No. We just took our power back. And across the street, a family moved into the empty house. The one Karen forced someone to leave. The cycle. Broken. I sat on my porch, watching the street, and realized something. HOAs aren't monsters. People who misuse power are. But people who stand together are stronger. Every time. And as the wind moved through the trees, a calm finally reached me. The kind of calm that doesn't need revenge. Just truth and peace.